Hey everyone, this is Yami, your Latina next door. Welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I have joined forces with Plaid in order to bring you all some great DIYs for fall. I will be combining some dollar store items along with some of Plaid products, as well as their paints, and show you how easily you can create some fall farmhouse custom signs. And I came across my fall color scheme this year pretty much by accident. So if you want to see what happened and how it all finally came together, make sure you stick around by subscribing and we'll get right into it. So for the first DIY, we're going to use this unfinished pumpkin form from Dollar Tree. So at first I thought I wanted a neutral pumpkin, so I started painting this with the color Linen in Folkart's acrylic paint. This paint is actually pretty thick, so I like to water it down with a little bit of water in order to get a little bit more of a translucent effect with the pumpkin. After I was happy with the consistency, I proceeded to paint the pumpkin. And then I took the color Barnwood and I started adding little details to make it look a little bit more like a pumpkin. And then I added a little bit of a lighter color called Wicker White to give it a little bit more dimension. But I wasn't really kind of feeling the way this was turning out. So I mixed all of the colors, both the Barnwood and the Linen as well as the Wicker White, and I added a little bit of medium orange and I finally got the shade I was looking for. This color was also the inspiration behind my feminine fall tablescape. If you haven't seen that video, I'll make sure to go ahead and link it for you as well. I added a little bit of white to that mixture that I made, and I started adding little highlights to accentuate the pumpkin's form. So I'm not sure if you know, but Plaid has a lot of really nice farmhouse stencils that you can find at your local craft stores. I wanted to use this one that you can either use as a complete stencil for one sign, or you can divide it up and make different signs out of it. Placed it in the center of my pumpkin, and then I used the color Peppercorn by Folkart and began to stencil. I touched up a couple of areas and then I added more stenciling. I wanted this pumpkin to stand, so I took some leftover dowels in 3/8 of an inch size that I had and glued them together. Then I painted it with the color Wrought Iron. As you can see, you only need one coat. This paint goes on really thick. I added a couple of the Dollar Tree tumbling blocks to the back of it for a little bit more support, and I hot glued it onto the dowels. Then I used some floral wire to make a simple bow. I got this ribbon at Hobby Lobby. It's $3.99 regular price, but I got it for half off. Then I attach some lamb's ear leaves and hot glue the bow. And this is how sign number 1 turned out. And yes, those are totally farm fresh cupcakes. I'm just kidding. I did bake them though. So for the second sign, I am going to use this palette circle. It is also a product of Plaid's. For this sign, I will use 3 of these little pumpkin wood pieces from Dollar Tree. These are the same ones that I use for my mini houses from Dollar Tree DIYs. I'm going to paint each of the pumpkins a different color. I am going to use Italian Sage, Peppercorn, and that little custom peachy color that I made up earlier. And again, you don't need a lot. A little goes a long way with this paint. Once the little pumpkins were painted, I set them aside to dry. While those were drying, I got my white paint called Wicker White, and I added a little bit of water to it because I kind of wanted to whitewash the palette circle. Then I added some highlights to the pumpkins as well. Also, Also for this sign, I will be using this set of stencils, also from Plaid. They have a nice little alphabet section that I want to use for this. I used it to stencil the word pumpkins at the top of the sign. Then I decided the layout of the pumpkins and I hot glued them down. I felt like something was missing, so I decided to create my own little arrow at the bottom and paint it in. After I removed the tape, I added some beads and a bow in order to hang it on the wall, and it was finished. Now you can always fill in the little holes on the pumpkin stems. I have this up on the wall and it doesn't really bother me, but it's always up to you. I personally like the way it looks, just like this. Okay, so for the last sign, I am going to paint this little palette sign, also from Plaid, in the color Peppercorn. There are a lot of little nooks and crannies, so I was trying to make sure and cover everything. And this only needed one coat. I also wanted to use 3 little pumpkins for this one. This time I use a lighter one instead of a dark pumpkin. And for this sign, I will also be using some jumbo popsicle sticks. You can get this at your craft store, but I believe these probably came from the dollar store as well. I began by cutting off the rounded edges of 8 popsicle sticks and making sure that they were all the same length. For this, I used my little mini miter saw kit. After they are cut, I line them up like you see here. Then I take 3 smaller ones that I already cut and I hot glue them on at the ends as well as the center. I line them up on one side and then I leave them hanging a little bit longer on the other side. Now, since I wanted this to be 3-dimensional, I flipped it over and I used regular size popsicle sticks and adhered them to the sides, like I'm showing you here. And for a little extra support, I added a smaller little popsicle stick to the back. Next, I adhered my pumpkins onto the sign. Next, I took my popsicle sticks, now a little wooden crate, and adhered it on as well. Then I took one of the little metal harvest signs from a Dollar Tree and I added a couple of pieces of popsicle sticks on the ends of the harvest sign. That way, once I adhered it onto the crate on the uneven surfaces, it would still lie flat. Finally, I took some leftover raffia from my DIY napkin rings, made a bow, and added it to the top. And my sign was complete. I think this one is my favorite one. I hope this video inspired you guys to go out there and check out some of Plaid's unfinished wood products. They're so easy to use and customize. And with their paints, you can take anything, even from a dollar store, and make it look high-end. Make sure you hit like if you enjoy this video and let me know in the comments below which of the signs you liked the best. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, adios!